It has been just over 1 year since I started paying off my student loan debt. In May of last year, I graduated OT school with a student loan balance of $127,000. And then I started working in June of 2024 and started paying off my loans ASAP. I brought you guys along on that journey, so now 1 year in, I wanna go over what I feel went well, what I feel went wrong, and what the plan is for the next 365 days. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm Sandra. I'm a 26-year-old occupational therapist. I live in Denver, Colorado, and I'm sharing my wealth building journey with you, which of course includes paying off my student loan debt. I'm also navigating life and finances in my 20s and trying to set myself up for future success, which means investing wisely through it all. I'm hoping that my financial transparency can empower somebody and instill confidence in you that you can do this, because if I can, you definitely can. So if you want to support me in this journey, definitely like this video because that's totally free to you, and subscribe. So last year, as of June 9th, 2024, my student loan balance was $127,978.87. Today, my loan balance is $87,039.25, bringing my total principal paid off to $40,939.79. I took out a total of 5 different student loans over 3 years. So my first loan started with a principal balance of $20,500, currently has a balance of $19,887. My second loan started at $20,500 and currently has a balance of $20,119.60. My third loan started with a balance of $30,425 and currently has a balance of $27,565.89. My fourth loan started at $20,500 and is paid off with a balance of $0. My fifth loan started at $30,500 and has a balance of $19,466. There was also an additional $5,553 of interest that had accrued while I was in school across all of these loans, but I'm not exactly sure what the spread was across each loan and like how much was there versus what I'd paid down, but they all did have interest in addition to the original principal. But like I said, I didn't keep great track of where this was, and so that brings us to an opportunity to reflect on the past year. Obviously, I'm incredibly proud of what I accomplished. My official timeline for these loans was based off of what I thought I could realistically sustain in terms of payments every month. And it was looking like it was gonna take me about 5 years to pay off. That was with paying between $2,000 and $2,500 per month. In my heart goal is just to have these paid off as soon as possible, but also knowing that I have other financial goals that I'm working on in tandem with this one. The good news is I'm definitely looking at paying them off in less than 5 years, which is very exciting. Ultimately, I was able to throw a lot of extra money at my debt thanks to extra income from dog sitting, holiday pay, gifts. I am proud of myself for choosing to put that money towards loans instead of spending it on myself. And because of this choice, I will hit my goal way sooner than I thought. Aside from extra money, having a realistic plan so that I wasn't just blindly throwing money at my debt was very helpful. Having this plan helps me know that I'm chipping away at something and I know exactly how long that's gonna take and how it benefits me. It helps me not feel frantic, and I was able to be intentional about making sure that I was still saving, investing, and spending money on myself through this entire process. It also doesn't feel all-consuming because realistically, it's gonna take a while. And just like any other financial goal, I wanted to make sure that I stayed on track during this process. Another thing that helped me stay motivated and on track is tracking my income and expenses, including my debt payments. I really like that, so we're gonna keep that up. You guys already know how much I like it. Another thing I wish I had done is set milestones along the way. That way, I would have more of an excuse to celebrate small victories and feel like I'm really crossing a finish line more frequently. I have a vague sense of some milestones. Of course, crossing into 5 figures from 6 figures was a big one, but I feel like having them more clearly delineated as goals would be motivating and would make this whole process just a little bit more fun and exciting. Some milestones that I'm thinking of are hitting $76,000, which means that my student loan balance will be less than I make in a year. And then mile markers like the $10,000 range. And of course, celebrating more when I pay off like an individual loan. So the next loan that I'm gonna pay off is the student loan 5, hopefully in the next year. But in my next monthly reset, I'll have some specific mile markers for this loan. I've kind of just been brainstorming a few, so if you have any ideas, let me know. One thing that I wish I had done that I kind of alluded to is tracking my loan balances, as well as each payment independent of the debt collector's website. I will be working on a system to do that shortly, but I did allude to the fact that I don't actually know the starting balance of each individual loan. I just know my starting total balance because my loan servicer's website just tells me the original principal balance. I need to go back in and like add up my total payments and everything to see how much I actually put to the loans. Okay, what is next? I'm just gonna focus on the next 365 days because obviously the ultimate goal is to pay these loans off. But now I have some experience under my belt and I'm ready to make some more headway. So let's set some goals. By July 1st, 2026, I want my student loan 5 paid off. This is my next highest interest loan. It currently has a balance of $19,466. I would love student loan 3, which is the next highest interest rate loan, to have 4 figures left to pay off. It currently has a balance of $27,455. I want my total student loan balance to be less than $50,000. A reminder, my current total student loan balance is $87,000. So how are we gonna make this happen? First, I'm gonna use the same strategies that I used for the past year. I am paying off my highest interest loan first with the goal of paying the least amount in interest over time. This is called a debt avalanche method because it starts off a little slower, but like I said, the benefit is that you pay less interest over time. If you've paid off a loan and freed up some of that money that was going to interest or a minimum payment, all that money can go to the next loan and just pay down the principal. So it picks up steam rather quickly. Basically, I'm paying the minimum payments on each of my loans, which covers the interest that it accrues as well as a little tiny bit of principal, but doesn't actually have that big of an impact. And then I make additional payments to my highest interest loan. I was able to pay off my first loan, which was loan number 4, and then I took the money that was the minimum payment on that loan and am now putting it plus additional payments to the next loan target. So that is what I plan to do going into next year. I take home about $4,000 per month. I share expenses with my partner, but we do live well below our means. So he pays a greater share of our monthly expenses, which total about $7,000, including my minimum debt payment, but not including my extra debt payment. And because we live well below our means, he can afford to pay a little bit more, and that frees up more money for me to put as additional payments to my student debt. And what I mean by when I say that we live below our means, I just mean that our monthly expenses are less than our monthly income, and quite significantly so. We've done this intentionally. There are definitely things that we want to have that we're choosing not to spend on so that we can prioritize our financial goals, one of which is paying off my loans. So I budget about $1,900 per month to put towards my loans. My minimum payment is just around $1,000, and that covers the interest on all of my loans and a little bit of principal. $700 of the dollars that I budget for my loans every month is extra cash that I am putting towards my debt, and $200 is a benefit that I get from work that goes straight to my loans. So over 12 months, that accounts for $22,800 towards my debt. That will definitely help me make progress towards my overarching goal of hitting a total of below $50,000, but not quite get me there. The other 2 goals, as well as the rest of that one, will require that I make some extra income. So let's talk through some sources that I am expecting. First, holiday pay and overtime pay. I plan to pick up some holidays, especially a lot of the winter holidays. The only holiday that I won't be picking up is Christmas because I plan to spend that with my niece and it's her first real Christmas. That'll add up to a few $1,000s of increased income, which I'll prioritize for my debt. And then of course there's side hustles. Dog sitting is my favorite side hustle. I have one dog that I dog sit for fairly frequently and we love him. We will also be decluttering our house soon, so the goal will be to sell anything that has any sort of value. We really want to like purge a lot of stuff. Both of these are obviously not very predictable, but I would expect a few $1,000s of income there. Another side hustle I have is this YouTube channel as well as my budget template. Both are monetized and both are technically profitable, but I can't really count on any of that income yet. I am hoping to grow it, so we'll kind of see how that plays in, but I'm not going to count on it. Another big one is gifts. My family is big into gifting, and a lot of times I'll be gifted cash. I'm usually gifted around $1,000 per year, so goody goody me, that money can go straight to my debt. And finally, I have 2 months that are 3 paycheck months, which means I'll have an additional $2,000 of income that's not accounted for in my targets. So over the year, that is $4,000 of extra income. Let's be conservative and say that all of this will add up to $6,000. I'm still shy about $12,000 to hit that $40,000 paid off mark in a year. I won't make $12,000 just from manifesting, but here's a couple spots that some of that money might come from. I am expecting a tax return. I haven't really gone ahead and adjusted my taxes, so I do know that I pay a little bit too much. It's just lower priority on the list, to be honest. I'll give the government a free loan. So maybe some can come from there, but I didn't include this in my like expected income because I really don't know what that's gonna look like. Will I get a raise? Will I get a bonus? Who knows? I did it last year, so I'm hoping I can do it again this year. And if not, I'll at least be $22,000 closer to my goal of 0. And that's not half bad either. So what is my plan exactly then? Every month I'll put $1,900 to my student loans. Again, this is $1,000 in minimum payments that covers the interest as well as a little bit of principal on each loan so that no loan is growing while I'm focusing on paying off another loan. And then it also includes an additional $900 in extra payments. With that $900, I'm putting it towards my highest interest loan with the goal of paying less interest over time. Right now, this is my student loan 5, so in total I'll be putting $1,144 to this loan with the goal of paying it off by this time next year. Part of what will be necessary in order to meet that goal is putting any extra income that I make to that loan. That extra income will go straight to the principal balance. I of course want to continue to share my progress transparently, so feel free to tag along, and then also go ahead and leave any suggestions you have for me down below. I will see you in the next video.